Okay, so what we're going to go over in this lesson is how to use a gate and how it can affect your voiceover tracks and help you minimize and reduce the background noise of your voiceover tracks. So what I have here is a quick voiceover that I've recorded. So I'm just going to quickly play for you what I have here in its original form. And I had the air conditioner on in the background, so there is some background noise, which I did on purpose to sort of show you in a more dramatic way what this will actually do for your recordings. This is Steve. Like most pet owners, Steve spends tons of money keeping his furry friends happy and healthy. So when Steve found out that he could save both time and money by purchasing pet supplies through Fur Express, he was overjoyed. Okay, so there you go. So that's the original voiceover that I recorded. And if you have headphones on or you're listening on a good set of speakers, you should be able to hear that there is some background noise and some hum. So if we zoom in on this empty section in between two of the phrases, what you can see is that there is some level and some audio that was recorded there. And if we expand the waveform, you can see that there's the audio. If there was no audio at all, it would just look like a very, very thin line. But as you can see, it's a thicker line because we actually do have some audio. So if we delete that section, that's what it would look like if there was no audio there. But if we undo, we see that there is audio there. So what we're going to try to do is minimize this background audio in relation to the actual voiceover that we recorded, so what we're hearing is just a very clear, clean voiceover without a lot of background noise. So we're going to go over to the Audio Suite menu and under Dynamics, open the ExpanderGate plugin, which is what we're going to use to sort of reduce this background noise. So what we're going to do is select an area of the voiceover where the voiceover is not speaking and it's just the background noise. So I have that section selected. And now what I'm going to do is go down and click on this little speaker, which is the preview button. And now we can see that we have some level coming into the plugin. And we're going to use that level to set our threshold in the plugin. So if I take this arrow and I move it up and down, you can see that the threshold knob also moves along with it. Here's the threshold knob. So when I move it up and down, the threshold knob moves with it. So now we're going to set that just above the point where the audio is coming into the plugin. So right about there. Now we can take it off of preview mode since we have our threshold set. Now instead of just rendering and applying this just to this one section, what we're going to do is instead select the entire voiceover and render for the entire voiceover. So we apply this to the entire voiceover track. So we can hit render, and now you can see visually a difference in that empty section. That's where it's most dramatic. So now you can see that the line is much thinner and there's much less audio and much less level going on there. So now we'll play just the post effect voiceover. This is Steve. Like most pet owners, Steve spends tons of money keeping his furry friends happy and healthy. So when Steve found out that he could save both time and money by purchasing pet supplies through Fur Express, he was overjoyed. So there you go. So now if you're listening on headphones, or if you just turn up your speakers, you should be able to hear that the levels in the background are much, much lower. When it transitions from the empty spaces to the spaces with the voiceover, there might be a bit of a difference that you can hear, and that's probably because I was recording in not the most ideal environment in that I had the air conditioner on. So ideally what you'll have is a quiet, well set up environment already that will be pretty quiet and have a pretty minimal level of background noise. And doing something like this will be just a way to polish it and take your voiceover and your audio recording tracks even further than they already are, to sort of just clean them up and get a nice, pristine, clear voiceover track. Now, once again, I'm in Pro Tools, but if you're in something else, you can still do the same thing. The theory is pretty much the same. You'll just have to look at what plugins you have available to you and try to mimic what I did here with the settings that you have in your own plugin. You should be able to really find that you can do this in pretty much any other piece of software. You're not doing a lot of tweaking within the plugin itself, so it's pretty basic in terms of what you're actually doing. Another thing is that you don't want to overdo this, because if you do too much, what will start to happen is that in addition to affecting the background noise in the quiet places, you'll also see that you affect the actual voiceover itself. So you'll start to notice that the ends of words might get sort of clipped off, or the beginning of words as well will get sort of muffled. So if you start to hear that, then you know that you did too much. And what you'll want to do then is either raise the threshold or lower the ratio. If you lower the ratio, this will affect how harsh and how quickly this plugin goes into effect when something hits the threshold. So use this as a starting point, tweak it and make it work for your home studio and for your recordings. And then what you can also do is once you have settings that you found work for you, you can make a template and save this plugin. And rather, if you're in Pro Tools, rather than use an Audio Suite plugin, you can actually just put a plugin on a voiceover track and just leave it there and have that as part of your template so that every time you open up a voiceover template to record, it's there, the settings are already set, and you're good to go. And if you have to tweak here and there for different projects, you can always do that, but you have a good starting point already set up.